So what is up guys, Nick here helping you to master your technology. This iPhone right here is a straight up deal. This is the iPhone XS Max, and you might disagree and want to click out the video already if you just don't agree with that. But let me explain to you why. This phone right now, you can have it for around 250 to 300 bucks. Now to put that into perspective, the iPhone XS Max, when this phone first launched, was well over $1,000 and if you're already in this price range, you're not going to find anything with a display this nice, with a phone that feels this premium, and well, you might find stuff that runs similarly smooth, but I'm guessing you're not going to find a phone with the latest and greatest software and all the features this phone provides at this price point at these days. It's pretty insane. Now, some of the reasons why you'll get an iPhone XS Max at that price range is because the batteries are trashed out. However, you can just simply go to Apple and replace the battery on this phone for not too much, and then you basically have a phone that at once cost over $1,200 with tax, for some people even higher depending on the storage they went with, and you only paid a fraction of that cost. And it still performs very well. We already did a video, how does it run on iOS 16? So my first reason is the display. It's a straight up boss display for this price point right now. You're getting a 6.5 inch OLED display. This is Super Retina, HDR10, also 625 nits of brightness, which is really good. It's actually a lot better than a lot of other Android phones on the market that don't get, quite as bright as this phone, quite as saturated, quite as, sharp. Now, I'm not saying there is many that do outdo it, but this is a premier display. It's been tuned and balanced to be at the highest level. So even though you'll find some specification sheets saying it has a higher pixel density than a phone like this, you still get a better display overall because it was tuned. It was aiming for the high-end market at the time, whereas a newer budget phone with maybe a higher pixels per inch may look slightly sharper, but it's not overall, a more color accurate panel. So a very beautiful display for the money right here on the iPhone XS Max right now. That's basically why you get a Max to begin with. And it's definitely a lot sharper than say an iPhone XR or something like that. So for me, it still holds up very well here in 2022. All right, the next one is kind of just the design and the build. Now I know that the camera doesn't look fantastic anymore. It looks kind of small and petite compared to all these massive camera smartphones these days. But the overall phone is still, I believe, a work of art. It's beautiful. Like, it's got really nice shiny curved edges. It feels very nice in the hand, and it just feels very premium even now. So nothing about it feels cheap. I would even say it still feels like $1,000 phone even right now. It just doesn't have the latest and greatest. So we just kind of move on and go on to the next phone and on to the next phone. But when you're playing at the level that Apple's been playing at for a while with these Max phones at over $1,000, it's not like it's just gonna fade away just because a couple years passed by. So this one's from 2018, so it's 4 years now, but Apple's been around doing iPhones for a long time. So even in 2018, that's not too far ago in terms of, technological advancement in the iPhone scape. So for real, it still feels and looks very beautiful and very premium. The next thing is the platform. You probably still have a couple updates left on this. We will be getting iOS 16. It's already running here on my XS Max. But if you're gonna buy a $250 phone or a $300 phone, they're probably only gonna update it a couple years anyway. So you can run iPhone, and you're gonna sacrifice 5G here, but it's still a deal because of all the other premium factor of this phone. And 4G LTE is still very fast for a lot of people, so it's not the end of the world at the moment. Maybe in the future when everybody's running every single phone on 5G, then it might be a little bit more important, and they're trying to push it that way. A lot of carriers are even recommending it, but it's not fully, everywhere just yet. It's getting there, but not quite. So this is still a heck of a deal of a phone right here. And the next one is a way to run a Max phone without having to go out and get a 13 Pro Max, a 12 Pro Max, something that's going to cost you $700-800 on the used market. You can experience yourself, a Max size phone at an SE like price. So I just had to mention that. I think a lot of people don't think about this. They just think, oh, that's the best iPhone I can get right now. No, if you really think about it, you go back a couple years, get yourself a Max phone like this, and be using something that is arguably better in a lot of ways than something like even a current gen SE. Just because it doesn't have A15 Bionic, there's still areas of this I love way more than an SE 2022, for example. So my next reason is the camera, believe it or not. Now, the camera on this phone is still stellar. Like, it still takes very good photos and actually takes very good video. It has 4K 60 video. And again, just because Apple came out with new phones doesn't mean that their current, iPhone or their older iPhone line just didn't do amazing video. This still takes video I would gladly put on YouTube or even Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that. So really good overall video performance still for the iPhone XS Max. In addition to that, the front-facing camera is not my favorite, but it'll pass. I've talked about how this is not the best thing out there, but it'll pass because you're getting all this other stuff, for this price point now. So only a HD 60 on the front, no 4K, definitely not my favorite, but it'll pass. We'll go to portrait mode. You can see stage light, highlight, key light mono, all these different things you could do on here, panoramic. But really where it really hits hard is it does have the telephoto lens, which allows you to zoom in and take amazing photos. And don't ask me why I'm taking a picture of Android in an Apple video. It's because I like both. That's simply why. We can take a picture of the Apple right there. But yeah, just a great telephoto lens, a good standard lens, and video performance still I think looks better than some current, $250 Android phones today. They're throwing a lot of cameras on those current Android phones, but they don't really stack up in an amazing way. Even with their night modes, they promote, oh, we got a night mode, but some of those night modes on those cheaper Android phones can definitely look a little bit grainy, so what's the point anyway? And you could just throw an application on here to get yourself a night mode as well. And next up is the battery life. I'm thinking SE territory here, because you're gonna find an SE 2022 for more money than this with a substantially smaller battery. This actually has a substantially larger battery than that and substantially larger than even the 13 mini. So this is 3174. Now, it doesn't seem to perform quite as well as some of the current 13s, but provided you put a new battery in here, the XS Max is an all-day phone. Don't get me wrong, it's not a 2-day phone, it's not a 12 Pro Max, 13 Pro Max like phone, but it's an all-day phone. And that's what I really like about it. Yes, iOS 16 right now is really trashing the battery, but once they get the optimizations and updates done, it'll be just fine. So overall, the battery is a good reason to pick this. And keep in mind, I'm saying it's a deal. So at this price point, $250 to $300. And so that's it. This phone is a freaking deal, especially if you want an iPhone on the low, you're trying to buy it outright. This is not a deal if you're the type of person who's like, I don't really buy my phones outright. I get a subsidy, or I just do payments, stuff like that. Then no, why would I recommend you go out and just pop $300 on this baby? I'm just saying, if you're looking to try iPhone and this is what you want to do, you just want to get a big iPhone for a cheap price, this is a great recommendation right now. I'm telling you right now, 5G hasn't been life-changing for me just yet. I noticed it just kind of feels like a 4G plus in a lot of areas. But in the future, 5G is a great way to future-proof yourself, and it is becoming more widespread. So that's a big kicker. This also doesn't have the greatest modems in it, so its phone call quality and stuff like that, the reception mostly is not the best out there. But other than that, everything about it still feels premium. I just love how this feels. It's one of the lightest Max phones you can buy. It's just a great device still. Even though it's getting older, it's still a pretty great deal, especially if that's what you're looking for. Thumbs up if you found the video helpful, entertaining, informing. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. I'll catch you on the next one. And if you have the iPhone XS Max, share with us your experience, what you've learned, stuff like that. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.